I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. MAGA Republican Senator from Alabama Tommy Tuberville is blocking the confirmation of critical military leaders in the Senate. At all of the various stages of leadership, Tommy Tuberville has placed a blanket block or stay on the confirmation of military leaders, preventing promotions from taking place across all branches of the armed forces. And why is it that Tommy Tuberville is doing this? He is objecting to the fact that the military is paying for travel and time off expenses for women who seek reproductive care. And Tommy Tuberville says that that is unlawful, that women should not make the decisions to control their body. And even though there's even no direct payment being made by the military to support an abortion, the fact that the military is paying for travel and time off and associated expenses, Tommy Tuberville says that is a violation of the law, and therefore he is going to cripple our military. So the other day in the Senate, General Charles C.Q. Brown Jr., who's the nominee by President Biden to become the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, spoke before the Senate. General C.Q. Brown Jr. would be taking over for the current chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, and under this blanket hold, his nomination could be held up as well. But speaking before the Senate, I just want to show you what General Charles C.Q. Brown Jr. says. He's the leader of the Air Force, Chief of Staff of the Air Force. Distinguished military career. I mean, just to give you just some background on him, he's a United States Air Force general, serves as the 22nd Chief of Staff of the Air Force, the first African American to lead any branch of the United States Armed Forces. He entered the Air Force in 1984. As a fighter pilot, he logged over 3,000 flight hours, including 130 hours in combat. He has commanded the Pacific Air Forces, U.S. Air Force's Central Command, 31st Fighter Wing, 8th Fighter Wing, U.S. Air Force Weapons School, and the 78th Fire Squadron. He's also served as the Deputy Commander of the U.S. Central Command. So I want to show you here what went down when Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren asked General C.Q. Brown of the Air Force about the damage these holds are causing to our military. Play this clip.
I want to close and use our remaining time by asking about the impact of the holds on the promotions and assignments of senior military officers that the senator from Alabama has imposed. The families of these service members are held at a standstill. They're unsure about where to enroll their kids in school or whether they need to arrange a move across country or even somewhere else around the world. General Brown, can you just spend a minute here and talk to us about the impact that these holds are having on our military families?
There's several factors that I think about as we're going through this and how we are working to mitigate the challenges associated with the holes. There's aspects of readiness and the transition in leadership, and for our young service members to know who is in the position of leadership that it's qualified, has the experience to be there, and not in some cases putting we have strong deputies, but at the same time they don't have the same level of experience going forward. In addition to the senior officers, there's a whole chain of events that go down to our more junior officers, and that has an impact. It has an impact on their progression in their career field potentially, because if one doesn't get promoted or move on, then they're blocking a spot for someone else. At the same time, we have several members who have served honorably and are ready to retire, but they're going to, in some cases, stay with us to help us mitigate through that challenge. The area that hits us, I think, that we do need to think about is how it impacts our families, because it has an impact not just for the senior officer, but all their staff and all those below them. It has an impact, and as you highlighted, it's whether it's school, whether it's employment, or the fact that they've already sold their home because they thought they were going to move and now are living in temporary quarters. That creates a challenge. The last thing I'd highlight on that is my concern there is future retention, because we have our more junior officers who now will look up and say, if that's the challenge that I'm going to have to deal with in the future, I'm going to balance between my family and serving in a senior position, and we will lose talent. because of those challenges. And the spouse network is alive and well, and the spouses will compare notes. And the member may want to serve, but the spouses and the families get a huge vote. And while we continue to be able to serve, and I thank my family for that opportunity to allow me to continue.
I see Mrs. Brown nodding her head on this as well. If the senator from Alabama continues his reckless action, he will soon be holding 650 leaders who have served their country honorable hostage. And as you rightly point out, that has effects on many more of the best and brightest who have volunteered to serve our nation. I heard the senator say as he concluded his questions that if there was anything he could do to help you in your actions and help the service, that he would be glad to do it. What he could do to help is lift this stay before it does more damage to our country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And then I want to compare what you just watched with what MAGA Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville is saying. And he's saying he wants to teach everybody a lesson here. This is MAGA Republican Tommy Tuberville. Anytime they tell you they support the troops, they don't. He wants to teach a lesson. That's what he's saying. Here, play this clip.
Regardless, even if you disagree with their position on this, their policy, a colonel who is waiting to be promoted to a one-star general has no say over what the Pentagon's policy is. So why are you holding these officers responsible for the actions of political and civilian appointees?
When you're in a minority in the Senate, it's the only power that you have to get people's attention, to get them to do it the right way, to go by the Constitution. The only power we have is to put a hold on something. And so we thought that this would get the attention of the Secretary of Defense. I told him back in December, now, if you do this, I'm going to put a hold on all your admirals and generals. I didn't hear from him for 2 months. He put the order through, just through a memo instead of a law. He changed it. That's unlawful. To make it law, you've got to go through Congress. And we're trying to teach them that you cannot legislate from the Pentagon. And so it's a tough situation.
Here is Democratic Congressmember Abigail Spanberger talking about what is taking place with this stay and this hold and how it's harming our military as a result of what the Republicans in the Senate are doing, specifically one Republican senator, Tommy Tuberville. Play this clip.
I represent Quantico. I represent thousands of members of the U.S. Marine Corps, thousands of active duty service members, as well as tens of thousands of veterans across Virginia's 7th District. And what this one senator is doing and has been able to do is just absolutely unthinkable and irresponsible. And we heard General Brown use the phrase, we have to mitigate the challenges. The fact that we have military leaders mitigating the challenges posed by one single senator, when we have challenges they should be mitigated, that they should be focused on mitigating in the form of our adversaries throughout the world, that they should be planning, they should be ensuring our military readiness, and they're mitigating the challenges created by one man, is unbelievable to me. It's irresponsible, it's outrageous, and it needs to stop. It is dangerous to our nation and to our readiness.
And just for reference, this is President Joe Biden back on May 25th, 2023, announcing his nomination of General C.Q. Brown, who's the current Air Force Chief of Staff, to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Play this clip.
So today, I have the honor of introducing my nominee to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Charles Q. Brown, Jr. General, welcome. General Brown's a warrior, descended from a proud line of warriors. His father, a U.S. Army Colonel, C.Q. Brown, served in Vietnam. His grandfather, U.S. Army Master Sergeant Robert E. Brown, Jr., led a segregated unit in World War II. And command pilot General Brown brings to this role more than 3,000 hours of fighting flying experience, including 130 combat hours. He knows what it means to be in the thick of battle and how to keep your cool when things get hard. Like when your F-16 was on fire. And you returned to the base in Florida in 1991, CQ had eject more than 300 miles an hour, landing in the Everglades. That's a lot of fun, huh? Well, I tell you what, he was back in the cockpit the next week with a new call sign. Swamp Thing.
If you look at all of the reporting that we've been doing here on the MeidasTouch Network, you take it all together, right? You've got Donald Trump saying that America should withdraw from NATO, Marjorie Taylor Greene saying America should withdraw from NATO, praising Vladimir Putin, attacking Ukraine. You've got Donald Trump posting QAnon memes every single day. You got Donald Trump stealing classified records, stealing sensitive compartmented information, and just showing it to basically random people who show up at his various properties. You got that happening. You've got MAGA Republicans in the House of Representatives calling individuals who are serving as unauthorized foreign agents of the Chinese government and people who are basically, laundering or acting as weapons dealers, unlawful weapons dealers for Iran and Libya. MAGA Republicans are calling these people whistleblowers to attack President Biden. You've got MAGA Republicans calling Putin-friendly oligarchs whistleblowers to attack President Biden and to attack the government. You've got this taking place in the Senate of blocking the ability of promotions to take place in the military, which is going to cripple the military. And you see it is causing a great deal of harm. It is harming military readiness. It is harming morale. You hear it directly from who should be our next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. You have all of that taking place. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but they're fundamentally attacking our safety and our security, the MAGA Republicans are. Like, they're fundamentally doing things directly that our enemies would want to happen. And as I've been saying in a lot of the videos that I've been doing recently, that's not me attacking conservative speech, because what these MAGA Republicans are doing with these policies is not conservative. It is simply treasonous. It is traitorous. It is grossly reckless, negligent, intentionally malicious. It is fascist. It is an idiocracy. It is all of these things, but that conservative, it does not make. That's not a conservative thing. And so it is so vital that we collectively call this out, call this conduct out, expose it, and just show what they're saying when they go, oh, it's not going to impact our military. Here's the general. And by the way, you want to go back to videos from 2020 of all these Trumpers who were praising General Charles C.Q. Brown Jr. and saying that, oh, look, Donald Trump's pledge to diversity. Look at Donald Trump's promotion here. So there's so much tape that I could show you another time of all the MAGA Republicans praising General Charles C.Q. Brown Jr. And now that President Biden's appointing him, though, to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and he's saying you're crippling our military, now the MAGA Republicans change their tune. It's not consistent. It's not logical, but we're going to keep calling it out here. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Wherever you get audio podcasts, subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast and have an excellent day.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.